Caught up with time. And we're going to have a look at what's grabbing headlines here in France. Left-leaning press, we talked about this bit yesterday, didn't we? But they really got the knives out against the government for dropping these plans to update family law this year.
That's right. They were just starting yesterday, but the Hollande bashing is in full swing today. And just like yesterday, there's some pretty good puns. Let's start by looking at the front page of L'Humanité. Hollande is the shame of the family. Ha ha. The shame of the political family in this case. And you see a photo of very browbeaten Hollande there. Libération is also wondering, why did Hollande bow down like a scared puppy? That's on the front page of Libération. A lot of the left-leaning press is really angry at the government for caving in to the pressure from the street. So another defeated-looking Hollande there on the front page of Libé.
The government was supposed to start discussing this in April.
That's right. Libé points out that it had some very controversial measures, and especially the medically assisted procreation for lesbian couples that's known as PMA here in France. And as you can read in the editorial today, the government really backed down after just a couple of demonstrations by conservative groups like the Manif pour tous, who say these controversial parts of the bill go against traditional family values here in France. But Libé points out the government didn't even put up a fight in the face of these extremist groups. And Libé says these groups are so extreme, well, they even scare the opposition UMP and the far-right National Front Party. A lot of the left really feels betrayed by the government, and Libé says that once again, the government is breaking one of its promises, and this devalues its word.
And a lot of people questioning really what this means now for Hollande and the socialist government.
That's right. Les Echos points out that the French media often nicknamed Nicolas Sarkozy, so the former president, the hyper-president because he wanted to control everything. But this article says the hyper-president isn't necessarily the one you think. And this article points out that a lot of socialist MPs are really critical of Hollande for making executive decisions without consulting them. He's really sidestepped the parliament, whether it's deciding to abandon this family law reform, or whether it's his decision to really completely change his economic policy and go for something that's a little bit more social democrat. Now, according to Les Echos, during his campaign, Hollande promised that he wouldn't be a hyper-president. He wouldn't be Nicolas Sarkozy. But once again, it seems like he can't keep his promise.
And you've also found quite a lot of coverage of exactly who those conservative groups are who were demonstrating.
That's right. Who were in the streets? Well, Libération interviews a woman named Danielle Tartakowski. She's a historian that specialized in the right wing. And she has very harsh words and says that France is actually retrograde without even knowing it. And she says that the fact that the government has backed down in the face of these demonstrations is really going to galvanize these right-wing activists. Le Figaro points out that the UMP doesn't really know how to deal with this group, which so far has been very apolitical. But it points out that the Manif pour tous isn't going to hesitate to make demands of the UMP, especially in the lead up to those municipal elections in March, because these are very powerful demonstrations. These people have shown that they really have an agenda, even though they are quite apolitical. A lot of people are comparing them actually to the Tea Party movement in the US and the power that they have on the Republican Party.
Yeah, interesting piece on our website, which I saw about that yesterday. Now, a lot of focus as well in the French press on the situation in the Central African Republic.
That's right. Le Parisien has an exclusive interview with the French ambassador to the Central African Republic, Charles Malinas. Now, he says that little by little, things are starting again in Bangui, and the atmosphere is more and more peaceful, even though he does point out that the risk of clashes between Muslims and Christians is still very real.
Now, finally, Libération. They're focusing on a guide. Could have been very useful for François Hollande, apparently. I don't know why, but Flo will tell us.
That's right. You can read about it in Libération. It's called the Gentleman Largueur. So I guess you could say the Gentleman Heartbreaker. The book is called How to Break Up with Somebody Without Coming Across Like a Heartless Jerk. Now, this is a guide just for men, because apparently men are terrible at breaking up with people.
Oh,
well, I don't know about...
Just send a text, don't you?
Send a text. Tweet. No. Tweet. Well, Hollande, for instance, drew a lot of criticism for the way that he announced that he had dumped Valérie Trierweiler with his communiqué to the Agence France Presse. I decided to put an end to my shared life with Valérie Trierweiler. Well, a lot of people say this was a horrible way to break up with her. So there's this guide that's out there. Some would say that there's no good way to break up with people, but the book points out there are a lot of bad ways to do it. texting is actually one
there's
of
a surprise.
them. Any kind of social media in general. So it's not rocket science, really. And according to this book, the main thing to do is if you decide to break up with someone, to actually break up with them. This book points out that the worst thing you can do is the disappearing act. But it's a very useful guide. It tells you not only what to say, but where to break up with somebody and what time to do it. So if you're interested,
Libération.
Libération, le gentleman largueur.
Excellent. Flo, thank you very much. Flo, giving us a little bit of marital advice or relationship advice on France 24. Coming up, all the latest news for you. Plus, we have a special report today with Israelis living and working in the West Bank. We're in Hebron, in fact, speaking to those who say they will never leave, and also with others who openly question the need for them to be there. That's in the next half hour.